Hello everyone, welcome to another one of my London walking videos. I have just got out of Marble Arch tube station intending to go to Hyde Park, but then I found myself in the midst of this great big crowd of people all going to Hyde Park as well, and I thought, what's going on? I had no idea what was going on at the time. Only a bit later on I found out that all these people were coming for a demonstration against Brexit. You may know that the UK went through a referendum and all sort of hoo-ha trying to leave the EU, and these people were obviously against it and coming to demonstrate against leaving the EU. This was October 2019. However, the UK did finally left the EU on January 2020. So I guess their demonstration didn't make much of an impact. It didn't make any changes. So my reason for going to Hyde Park was to try to pick some sweet chestnuts. If you've been following my videos last year, you will know that I went to Hyde Park on the spur of the moment to pick some sweet chestnuts. But that was a bit of a failure. I didn't pick many, not much. And I thought the reason I failed last year was because maybe I've gone a bit too late in the season and all the chestnuts were gone by then. They'd all been picked by other people, or probably even squirrels. So I thought this time I will come. I think this was probably about 2 weeks earlier than I did last year. Hopefully there'll be some left for me. That's why I'm making my way into Hyde Park now. It was such a gorgeous day as well. Beautiful day for a walk in the park. So these people were gathering at a mass rally somewhere. I bumped into them again at the very end of it, and gosh, it was quite a fight to try and get my way out of the crowd and try to go home. But that's a bit later. Right now, I've got myself into Hyde Park and trying to look for my clump of chestnut trees. I thought it was over around this corner somewhere. So last year I went into Hyde Park and I had no idea where the chestnuts were. We just walked around for ages until we finally found this orchard of sweet chestnut. And we thought this time round we should know where it is. So we got out of Marble Arch tube station. We got out at the right end of Hyde Park for the chestnut, but at the wrong section, I think, because it should have been another 1 or 2 stations further down. So last time we walked across Hyde Park. This time we got out at the right side of Hyde Park, but at the wrong end. That's it. So we end up walking for ages, looking for our chestnut orchard, and we kind of basically got lost again. We just wandered around forever until we finally found our chestnut orchard. So watch on to find out whether we are successful with our chestnut hunt this time, or is it going to be another failure. Alright, so we're still just wandering around, looking for our clump of sweet chestnut trees. I wonder if we're ever going to find it, because every tree we looked at seemed to be a chestnut tree, but turned out not to be so, and we're basically just getting lost at the moment. However, see this footpath that we're walking along, the one that we're walking on at the moment, that's a normal human footpath that is nicely paved. But there's another one next to it, that's a sandy footpath there. That, I am told, is apparently a horse riding track, because there is horse riding in Hyde Park. There's a horse stable somewhere, and you can actually hire a horse to go riding there. I'm sure it's very nice, if you can afford it, because it's very expensive. As Hyde Park used to be the hunting ground for kings and royalty, it's just an open countryside to go hunting, which nowadays has been turned into a royal park. So I read a few years ago somewhere, I think maybe on Wikipedia, it was saying that Hyde Park is either the same size or even bigger than Monaco. So you can see how big it is. No wonder I always get lost whenever I go in. I just end up walking for ages, and you can literally just walk forever and ever and get totally lost in it. Alright everyone, I think we have finally found our chestnuts. Along this path, for quite a long way, mostly on the left hand side, are these big mature chestnut trees. And you can tell they're chestnuts by looking at the grounds, because when it's ready, the nuts will fall naturally to the grounds. And they'll cover in this horrible shell with very sharp spikes. So make sure you don't prick your skin or finger on them, because it'll give you a horrible sting, very painful. We walked all over looking at every tree. Unfortunately, it's another failure because all the nuts had been taken. Someone had obviously been here before, cleaned the place out of the nuts. The only thing left was just this horrible spiky shell. So despite coming here almost 2 weeks earlier than we did last year, it was still another failure, really. In case you didn't know this, there are actually two types of chestnuts. The type we are looking for is called sweet chestnuts, and there's another type, and that's called horse chestnuts. Now, the reason we want the sweet chestnut is because they're edible. They're kind of human edible. I think we can digest the sweet chestnuts, whereas the horse chestnuts, I suppose, are eaten by horses. That's why they're called horse chestnuts. And those ones are inedible. I think that's because we can't digest the horse chestnuts. Someone told me that if you, for some reason, eat enough of these horse chestnuts, it could kill you because we just couldn't digest these nuts. However, the two looks very similar. They look pretty much the same. It took me quite a while to figure out the difference between them. And the main way of telling the difference between them is the horse chestnuts are usually bigger and looks a lot more desirable actually because it's bigger and juicier. And that's the reason why many people who didn't know about the difference would actually go and pick up these horse chestnuts only to find that they can't eat them. Because I have known people who pick these horse chestnuts, try to eat them, and then had to spit them out because they said it tastes so horrible. The other main way of telling the difference is the sweet chestnuts I mentioned previously are encased in this really horrible spiky shell that give you a painful sting. The horse chestnuts are also inside a shell. However, the spikes on their shells are very blunt. It doesn't do you any harm at all. That's why it's very easy, if you didn't know it, just to go and pick these horse chestnuts because they're all over the place. We came across them everywhere. There's a heap full of them, but we had to discard them like everyone else as you can't eat them. And then we came across this old, mature sweet chestnut tree. There were a load of nuts up on the tree that is way too high to reach, and all the one that has fallen down on the ground had been picked cleared. Someone had been here previously, picked all the nuts. The only thing left were these horrible spiky shell all over the place. So this tree was, again, no use. And then we came across another tree, the one that we're just walking towards here. And we remember this was the exact same tree that we were at last year. So this was the only tree with any nuts left last year. And we managed to pick about 2 kilos or something like that from this tree. And there were some left from this tree again this year. So we came here and we managed to pick some from this tree again. Not as much as last year, a lot less, but this was the only tree with any nuts left. And we realized the only reason there were any nuts left was because although this tree had a load of it, but they're really small. I think that's why these people, these pickers who had been here before, decided not to bother because their nuts are just too small to trouble their time over. That's all we got left, so we managed to pick some from this tree, and that was it. After spending, I think, a couple of hours on that chestnut tree with very little result, we didn't get very much from it. Also, halfway through it, it poured down with rain, so we had no choice but to stay under the tree to take cover from the rain. And then the sun came out and it was nice again, so we decided to leave, and we're just now wandering around enjoying Hyde Park. After wandering around Hyde Park aimlessly, we came across another row of sweet chestnut trees along here. These trees, though, were much smaller and younger than the other batch that we came across earlier. They're not as big, but even then, all the nuts that were here had been taken as well. So again, nothing left for us. Just a nice, beautiful view. We are coming to the end of this video, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed watching it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, because there will be part 2 where we'll come across Kensington Palace and the nearby exclusive avenue of beautiful mansions where an heiress had, I think, about £50,000 worth of jewellery, gold, diamond and what other expensive things stolen from her house around this exclusive area of London. So I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.